I decided to fully complete Kingdom Rush. That means I need to get all the achievement and complete all the levels with the Iron and Heroic mode active. And to add a little bit of challenge, I will play all of it on the Veteran mode. And on the first stage, Southport, we can already get 2 achievements. Impatient by calling a wave within 3 seconds, and First Blood by killing the first enemy. Now the 2 enemies that we encounter in this stage are Goblins and Orcs. Goblins are pretty basic enemies, nothing special, and well, Orcs are a tougher version, because well, they have a little more HP, a low armor, and deals a lot of more damage. The great counter for them are mages. And by calling all the waves in the single stage earlier than supposed, we get the achievement Fearless. And as you can see, we got 2 abilities, Rain of Fire, which is well the Meteor Strike, which deals a lot of damage, it's really great to grouped enemies, and Reinforcement, which are 2 units that can stall enemies, which is a very useful ability. And by selling 5 towers in a single stage, we get the achievement Indecisive. And just like that, the first stage is completed. And thanks to stars, we can buy upgrades, which will be very important for the veteran run. And by killing 10 ships on any stage, we get the achievement of Inophobia, which is the irrational fear of the ship. But now we are on the Iron mode, which means that there is only one long wave, and we have only 1 HP. On top of that, we can only use tower chosen by game. Like here, for example, we can only use artillery and barracks. And on the final attack there's a lot of goblins, so I needed to sell artillery on top and go back. And just like that, we won. Now we are on the Heroic mode, which means that we have 1 HP, just like on Iron mode, but there are 6 waves to deal with, not 1. And we can use all the towers. I would say that I prefer Iron mode because of the restriction on towers, which makes the Iron mode simpler, but not necessarily easier. And well, Heroic for me personally is easier. And just like that, the Heroic mode is done. And now we are on the Outskirts when we get our first tower upgrades. And by building 30 towers, we get the achievement Constructor. And well, a little bit late for that, but there are 4 types of towers in Kingdom Rush. First, there are Archers, which have fast attack, but not really great damage. But they're good against magic resistance enemies. Next is the Barracks, which are our stalling units. We get 3 units that can stall the enemies, and our towers can deal a lot of damage to them thanks to them. And next is the Mage, which is very high damage tower but slow attack speed. But they're really not great against magic resistance enemies, but for armor they're perfect. And last but not least is the Artillery, which have a lot of damage and deals group damage, which means they are great with barracks and they're great against grouped enemies. On this stage we get 1 new enemy type, which is Wolf. They are very fast, I would say even the fastest in the whole game, and they can dodge melee attacks. But they can be stopped with our barracks, which is the great counter for them. And they can dodge even our archers, so mages are pretty nice for them. And on Iron mode I got the Bloodlust achievement, which is by killing 500 enemies. The Iron stage wasn't really that difficult, just a lot of mages and it's done. Now the Heroic mode wasn't really that difficult too, just a good setup like this. And well, for on the last wave, couple of enemies can slip up, so we need to sell some towers and well, build the defensive on the last tiles. And now we are on the Fungal, where there are 2 lanes from which enemies come and they meet up in this choke point. This choke point will be really important to us. And by killing 100 enemies with meteor strikes, we get the Death from Above achievement. The new enemy on this stage are Shamans, that are very annoying because they have high magic resistance, which means mages don't do almost any damage to them, so we need to use archers or artillery or rain of fire. And they have special ability like healing, where they can heal allies and themselves, which makes them really annoying enemy to deal with. By clicking on 5 information cards, we get the achievement What's That? And by using Rain of Fire 5 times in a single level, we get the Armageddon achievement. The last enemy we encounter on this stage are ogres, which are a very tough enemy because they have a lot of HP. Seriously, a lot of HP. But, well, they're pretty slow, so that's not really that bad. So the best way to deal with them are mages because they deal a lot of damage and they don't have any armor or magic resistance. So that's it, but they're pretty tough. And by holding the choke point with 2 barracks and artillery and with mages I dealt with the ogres, this stage wasn't thankfully that difficult. And now on the iron mode, well, my setup wasn't really that great and sadly this was my first restart. But on the next try I decided to focus more on the mages and thanks to that, and well, with a little bit of good rain of fire, I dealt with it more easily. And now on the heroic mode. And well, I forget to talk about it, but the iron and heroic mode are, well, they have a restriction on the upgrades. Like, depending on which stage we do, there are the upgrade restriction. Like, for example, this time I can only use tier 2 upgrades. On the first stage it was tier 1, and in the future maybe I can use tier 3, 4 and 5. And first 5 waves were pretty simple with this choke point, 3 barracks and 2 artillery, but on the last wave we need to use a lot of mages. Just like I said, a lot of mages. But we get the achievement story by earning 15 stars. On Twin River Pass we unlock tier 3 upgrades for our towers and a hero. On this river there's a lot of jumping fish, and when we click on one, we get the achievement Twin River Angler. Now for the heroes, there are very powerful units that can level up to level 10, and they have really strong abilities. The first hero we unlock is Sir Gerard. For me, top 3 hero. He's a really great tank and can even later solo almost any enemy in the game. And by getting the hero to level 5, we get the achievement Champion of Lineria. New enemy types is the bandits, which are really annoying. They have a lot of damage, so they can shred our barracks units, and they can dodge melee attacks, so they're pretty annoying. And by calling 10 waves earlier on single level, we get the achievement The Ring. The next enemy are Brigands, and well, they kinda of reverse bandits, because they're slower and they don't deal as much damage, but they're tougher and have medium armor, so they can quite take a punch. So mages are the thing. And by leveling our hero to level 10, we get the achievement Legend of Linera. And by upgrading all towers to tier 3, we get the achievement Home Improvement. By selling 30 towers, we get the achievement Real Estate, and we completed this stage. By building 100 towers, we get the achievement Engineer. And well, I must say that this was the first iron stage that gave me a lot of troubles. By placing this tower, I got the achievement The Architect, but it didn't pop off, like you can see. And by killing 2500 enemies, I got the achievement Slayer. And well, by building almost everywhere the archers and then upgrading them, this stage was finally beaten. Finally. The heroic stage gave me some trouble, but not as much as iron. But well, it wasn't really that bad. And now on to the Silveroak Forest, where we meet the new enemy, giant spiders. They're not that scary, well, they have very high magic resistance, so the best way to deal with them are archers or artillery. And they are quite fast, so barracks are very useful against them. And into the wave 5 we unlock the Ranger's Hideout upgrade, which is one of 2 tier 4 upgrades for our archers. Now onto the better version of Wolf, which is Orcs. They have magic resistance and well, there are other version of Wolves, so they can be annoying. Now for the Rangers hideout, which are arguably my top 2 tower in the whole game. They have 2 abilities, the Wrath of the Forest, which can snare enemies up to 6, I think, which is really great crowd control, and the Poison Arrow, which deals, well, true damage, which is really great against all enemies. And well, they have very fast attack, extreme range. I mean, they're really nice and their design is very good. Now onto the Spider Martyr, which are a stronger version of giant spiders, but they can spawn a little version of spiders, which can be very annoying if we don't have enough troops to stop them, and they have high magic resistance like the normal spiders. And well, they can easily overwhelm us, but the little spiders are not that strong, so artillery is really great. By renovating this shack and buying 4 elves, we get the achievement Forest Diplomacy. And on to our final wave, we get our final enemy on this stage, which is Marauder. They are, well, just armored version of ogres, I would say. Mages are very great against them, so I will use them. Now, Iron Stage could be tricky. I would say that, well, Wrath of the Forest is very important on the Rangers outpost, and well, getting couple of elves to deal with the spiders are really important. And well, it could be tricky, like I get pretty lucky to win this, but a win is a win. And for the heroic, well, it wasn't really that bad, just a lot of barracks, and it's pretty doable. Now onto the Citadel, we get tier 4 upgrades for mages, arcane wizard, and the paladins for barracks. The first new enemy we got on the Citadel is the Dark Knight. Very high armored enemy, so well, the greatest counter, of course, is Mage. Next enemies are Gargoyles, which, well, they can fly, so they can be stunned, which means that we need to kill them very fast, because, well, if we can't stall them, they can go through other defenses very easily. And now it's time for the most annoying enemy in the whole game, archers. Why? Because they're ranged and they can really melt our barrack units. They're really annoying, I hate them. Now onto the arcane wizards, which are, I think, the highest damage output of all towers. And well, they have 2 abilities. Death Ray, which can instant kill any enemy, which is, well, very powerful, and Teleport, which can, well, teleport enemies back, up to 6, I think. And well, this very high damage tower, really great against armored enemies, and well, a pretty solid tower. Now the Holy Order is for me the best barrack units in the whole franchise. They have 3 great abilities, which are 1, they can heal themselves, 2, they have Shield of Valor, which makes them high armor, and Holy Strike, which makes them deal damage in area. For me, the greatest. Now, it's time for our first boss, Juggernaut. Well, they have a lot of HP and very annoying abilities. For example, Juggernaut can spawn a lot of very squishy enemies, but they can be very annoying. And well, a rocket launcher that can target our troops. And well, he can instant kill all our troops, which is really annoying. Well, high output towers, like for our arcane wizard, can deal with him. At the end of the stage, if we have 3 Imperial Guards alive, so the purple paladins, we get the achievement Imperial Savior. And well, by defeating the Juggernaut, we get the achievement Nuts and Bolts. Now the Iron stage, we can only use barracks, but we get 2 Arcane Wizards, which means that, well, it's kinda dependent on good rain of fires and, well, a lot of barracks. but it wasn't really that scary. Now the heroic mode could be a little bit tricky. The way I did it was, well, building tier 3 artillery on back with 3 barracks, and then just upgrade it went with the mages. And just like that, it went smoothly. And again, sound was there, but the pop-up was not there, and the achievement I got was Super Mario. And the achievement Tactician. And now onto the Coldstead Mines, we unlock our final tier 4 upgrade for archers, which is musketeers. Now for the basic enemy of the, well, ice stage, winter stage, are the trolls. Well, they don't have any magic resistance or armor, they have a bit of HP, and their main ability is that, well, they can regenerate HP. Other than that, they're not really that scary, but, well, it's good to have mages for them. And next enemy are Fungal wolves, which are just a stronger version of orcs and wolves. Just this. And for just training 1000 troops, we get the G.I. Joe achievement. Now, because I didn't really focus on our shooting towers, the gargoyles went through, which means that I lost lives, and, well, I will need to retry this, because I went with the tactic where I go for paralysis from. And, well, it could work out, it really did, this really nice strategy, but I need to focus more on the backline. And when the paladin strikes with the holy strike 100 times, I got the achievement Holy Chorus. Into the Iron stage I got 2 achievements, Toxicity, which is killing 50 enemies with the poison arrow, and Die Hard, which means that our soldiers need to regenerate 50,000 HP. And on the heroic stage I got the achievement Entangled, which means that our ranger soldier needs to hold 500 enemies with the Wrath of the Forest. The Icewind Pass welcomes us with Barbarian Hall and Big Bertha, which are there for upgrades for artillery and last for barracks. Now, for one of the achievements we need to unlock this cave, but that's for later. And, well, we need to unlock it with the Rain of Fire, so the best way to use it is on as fast as we can. And the new enemy, well, is the Troll Champion, which is beefier version of normal troll, but they can shoot our troops because they range. And, well, I must say I really hate range units. I really do. And the next achievement I got is Are You Not Entertained? Is by having a single barbarian kill 10 enemies. The second new enemy is Yeti, which is a very tanky enemy and they have area damage. Well, the best way to deal with them are, well, instant kills and mages. Other than that, they can give some trouble, but they shouldn't. And the next enemy is Troll Chieftain, which can give buffs to enemy trolls, like movement speed, so they can be troublesome because they have a lot of HP. And by having paladins heal a total of 7000 life with their ability, we get the achievement The Medic. And, well, by unlocking this cave we can buy the Sasquatch and get the achievement like a Henderson. And by having barbarians throw 500 axes, I got the achievement Axe Brain. And, well, on the first try I lost a couple of lives, so I needed to retry this, but it went better. And, well, the Iron stage was pretty easy. And on the heroic mode I killed my 10,000 enemy and get the achievement Terminator. And I must say that this heroic mode, oh man, it gave me a lot of trouble, a lot, like I don't know how many tries I needed, but finally it's done. Now in the Stormcloud Temple we unlocked our final tier 4 for the mages. And well, now the Barbarians and Big Bertha, because I forgot to talk about it. For me, the two worst towers in the game, I would say that Barbarians are the worst. I mean, their design is pretty cool, but their abilities and, well, their styling ability is not that great. And Big Bertha can be used sometimes, but for me, I mean, it doesn't really do it for me. So that's not really that good towers. The new enemy are Dark Slayers, which are pretty tough. They have a lot of HP and great armor, so the best way to deal with them are mages. And the next new flying enemy are Rocket Riders. When they get hit, they get a little bit of turbo, so it's really important to have something on front to hit them fast. Now this building can hold up to 4 mages, and we can shoot enemies with the sun laser, I guess, and well, by hitting 20 enemies, or well, by using it 20 times, we get the achievement Sunburn. Now for the final boss of the winter stage is JT. Well, he's like the previous boss, tanky, but his main abilities is that, well, he can freeze our towers, and we need to click on it. And, well, it's just this, I think. He can, of course, instant kill our troops, so, well, it's not really that difficult boss fight, because, well, he gets kinda exhausted after freezing our towers, so it shouldn't be really trouble. Like I said, it really didn't give much trouble, and, well, by defeating him, we get the achievement Is He Dead Yet? On the Iron stage, I got this achievement Elementalis by summoning 5 Rock Elemental. And well, the Sorcerer Mage. It's really cool tower. I would say I prefer it to Arcane Wizards because, well, they have fast attack speed and, well, they lower the armor of enemies, so they're really great with archers. And, well, they have really cool abilities like Elementalis, which can hold a lot of enemies. I mean one, but he has a lot of HP, so he can hold them long. So for me, a better tower? It's arguably, but really cool tower. Her rank wasn't really that bad, and well, by getting 45 stars, I get the achievement Superstar. And now we are in the Waste, where we unlock our final tier 4 upgrade, which is the Tesla. For me, top 1, the best tower in the game. And by buying all tier 4 upgrades with this Tesla, we get the achievement Specialist. Now, why Tesla is so good? Well, it has really high damage, better than Big Bertha. But, well, they have smaller range and can only hit 3 enemies. But with the upgrade Supercharge Bolt, we can up it up to 5 enemies. It's good, and the most broken ability is Overcharge. When it hits, it will give the area damage to all enemies. It really is great. For me, top 1. The new enemy demon spawns are, well, a bit tricky because, well, they have magic resistance, so mages are not that good, but, well, we have Tesla, so that's it. And, well, when they die, they explode, so they can easily kill our barrack units, so we need to be careful of that. And, well, the one feature of this stage is the graveyard. When we kill an enemy, they can spawn a skeleton in the graveyard, and the higher tray enemy can spawn armored skeletons. Well, a good Tesla will deal with it. The next enemy are Demon Lords. Well, they have the same thing, so magic resistance and can explode on death, but, well, the most annoying feeling is that, well, they give shields to other demons, and what this shield does, it tanks damage, so it can be really annoying. Using Sorcerer Wizard, we can polymorph 50 enemies into sheep and get the achievement Shepherd. And the next enemy are Demon Hounds, which, well, they are upgraded version of orcs and hounds, I mean wolves. Well, they have magic resistance, but they're not as fast, but they have more HP, so kinda evens. And well, they can explode, so they're kinda annoying to deal because, well, our barrack units can be destroyed easily. And by buying 4 Teslas on single stage, we get the achievement Energy Network. Iron stage wasn't really that difficult, just mages on the right and archers on the left with barracks, and it's done. And by having our troops survive 300 demons explosions, we get the we dine in hell achievement. Well, the heroic stage wasn't really that bad, and well, we get the achievement ACDC by having 300 enemies die with electricity. And now in the Forsaken Valley we meet our first enemy, Demon Imps, which are the most tankiest flying enemy. Well, they're not really that bad because, well, they're not as fast as gargoyles, so they're not really that bad, like I said. The next enemies are the Necromancers. They're slow and, well, they're ranged, but that's not their big deal. The big deal is that they can summon skeletons. And, well, if left unchecked, they can get quite overwhelming. So best way to deal with them is to get rid of them very fast. Now in the middle of this stage we have this crater in which the magma elemental can spawn. They're pretty much the same as our stone elementals, but well, they're a bit tougher, so the best way to deal with them are instant kills and, well, mages. And by using the teleport ability of the Arcane Wizard, I get the achievement Beam Me Up Scotty, while by teleporting 250 enemies. Now we are in the Iron stage, and well, by defeating the normal stage of this Forsaken Valley, we unlocked the rest of the heroes. And well, one of them is Elora Wintersong, for me top 1 hero. She's for me the best. Really great abilities, like she can create ice, which slows enemies, she can create ice popsicles, which deals a lot of damage, and she can even freeze enemies with her passive attacks. There's a chance for it, but well, it's really useful. She's really great at crowd control, and well, for me, top 1, and for some reason she can really fast on level up. I don't know why, but for me top 1. But the Iron and Heroic mode were pretty easy, nothing really special. Pretty easy levels. And now into the Dark Tower we face our final boss, the Vezam, the big bat. And well, let's see how will this stage go. And by having my Arcane Wizard killed 50 enemies with it Death Ray, we get Dust achievement. The next achievement is Rocketeer, by shooting 100 missiles with the Big Bertha. And similar to the Arcane Wizard, we get the achievement 50 shots, 50 kills, by having our snipers, I mean musketeers, snipe 50 enemies with their instant kill. Now Veznan is taking things into his own hands. Well, he's not really the tankiest boss, but he has a lot of damage. But well, almost every boss instant kills our allies, so he's not really that hard to deal with. But what's special about him is that, well, when we get rid of him, he creates the big form of the demon, in which he gets a lot of tankers, so I wouldn't say he's not really that scary. I mean, a couple of reinforcements and we can deal with him easy. And by defeating him, we get the achievement, This is the End. And just like I said, he wasn't really that difficult to deal with. And that was the main campaign, but that doesn't mean that this is the end, because there are a lot of bonus stages for me to complete. And the two achievements I got were the Great Defender and Supreme Defender by defeating the campaign in normal mode and veteran mode. They didn't show up, but I got them. And by beating the last main campaign level on the Iron mode, we get the achievement Iron Defender. Now, if someone of you would wanted to get all the achievements in Kingdom Rush, I would recommend it that you don't need to play the Heroic and Iron mode on Veteran. Why? Because it's not required. You can play it on easy, normal. It really isn't. If you want to play on Veteran, go ahead. I would recommend it because, well, it's kinda difficult and fun for that. But all the Iron and Heroic stages, they aren't required to be played on Veteran. And by dropping 1000 cluster bombs with our Big Bertha, we get the achievement Clustered. And just like the Iron mode, by completing all the campaign levels on the Heroic mode, we get the achievement Heroic Defender. And now we are on our first bonus stage. And by clicking on this cocoon, we can save, roll up, and get the achievement Free Frodo. Now the new enemies, Son of Serelgrass, are pretty tough, because they have high armor and high magic resistance, so the best way to deal with them are instant kills. And now it's time for the Serelgrass in her own thing. And well, she can be quite tricky, because a lot of sons will spawn and they can be really annoying. But other than that, it's doable. And well, by defeating her we get the achievement Arachnophobia. Now I decided to bring Tenshi, which is for me top 2 hero in the whole game. A very good staller, and well, he can quiff quite a bunch to enemies. But well, the setup for Iron was, well, 3 Holy Orders and Rangers hideout. And thanks to the Holy Strike, we can deal with a lot of the spiders. And thanks to that, it was pretty easy. And the Heroic wasn't really difficult. Now we are in the ruins of Akarov, and our first enemy are Orc Champions. And well, they have a very great armor, which means mages are a must against them. And the next enemies are the Goblin Sappers, where they're not really that tanky and not really that fast, but well, maybe they're kinda fast, but they're ranged and they deal a lot of damage. And well, I must say that I really hate ranged units. Really do. They're really annoying. Well, I like my barracks, so I hate them, because they don't want to fight face to face. And now the third enemy is the Forest Troll. Well, they're really tanky. They have a lot of HP, and well, the main thing about them is that what they have is a very great regeneration, like really great. So dealing with them with instant kills is really great, or even poison. And the final new enemy types are Borg Raiders. They're really annoying. Like I know I say a lot of annoying enemies, but when they're on Vorgs, they have high magic resistance, so we need to use normal damage. But they can dismount on the Vorg death, and then they become the normal Orc Champions when they have great armor, so we need mages. A pretty annoying enemy. The boss of this stage is Guldak, and well, he can heal himself and allies, so he can be quite troublesome, but with high output damage like mages or poison or well, musketeers, it really isn't that scary to deal with. And by defeating him, we get the achievement Orc Must Die. Now the Iron and Heroic mode didn't really give that much trouble. Well, maybe Iron could, but other than that, pretty easy. And now we are in the Rotten Forest, where I think it doesn't really look that bad. Just one exit and the new enemy, Husk, which is, well, the most basic enemy of this stage. Like, it is a little bit tanky, but other than that, nothing special. The next enemy is Noxious Creeper, which is the upgraded version of the Spider Matriarch. Because, well, it's tankier, has medium armor, and, well, most importantly, she can spawn better hatchlings, like a lot tougher hatchlings to deal with. Painted Treant is the next enemy. He has high armor, which means that he can be tricky, but, well, with good usage of mages, he doesn't stand really a chance. And the last enemy type is Swamp Thing. He's the ranged unit, which makes it the toughest ranged unit in the whole game, which is, well, kinda interesting. His range attack is area effect, which means that it can be a little bit annoying, so dealing with him could be troublesome. The final boss of this stage is Green Mag. He has one annoying ability where he can hit all of our ground units, can be annoying. And, well, I think if I had a better setup up front to him, I could have defeated him much faster, but I guess it really wasn't that bad. And he went pretty far for my liking, but after defeating him and completing the stage, we get the achievement Lumberjack. Now, beating the Iron and Heroic mode wasn't really that difficult on this stage, pretty simple. And our next objective is in Hushwood. Let's see how it goes. And the first new enemy is Raider, with great armor, which is annoying, and ranged attack, which is annoying. But more, the ranged attack is magic, which means that they can shred our barrack units with armor, which makes them really great counter to our barrack units, and we need to use mages against them. And the next enemy is annoying too, Pillager. They have high magic resistance and area damage attack, which makes them very troublesome because, well, we need normal damage, like archers or artillery. So dealing with them could be troublesome. But with good setup, we can get through this level without any really big troubles, I would say. Now, the Iron stage is pretty long and could be quite annoying, but with good usage of Teslas, it shouldn't stand any chances. Heroic was much simpler and easier to do. And now onto the bandits lair, we need to stop them from escaping. Well, nothing grand really happened here, just simple tactics and setups. But now onto the boss fight, Kingpin. Well, he's not really the toughest enemy, I would say it's one of the easier bosses. And the choke point on the middle, maybe not choke point, but this point, we can easily deal with him. Just like I said, the moment he gets into the middle, he gets really shredded. And by defeating him, I got the achievement I am the low. Now the Iron stage wasn't really that bad, just good usage of Wrath of the Forest of the Ranger's hideout and poison. It's doable. Now in the Heroic stage, the most troublesome part was the early game, where finding the correct setup was a little bit hard, but after finding it, it went pretty smoothly. Now we are in the Glacial Heights. And, well, by clicking on this icon a couple of times, we can get the achievement Scratch Mill. The new enemy are Troll Pathfinders, and their whole thing is that, well, they can't be stopped on ice, which means that they can really fast go to our backline, and it could be sometimes troublesome, but they're not really that scary. Next enemy is Troll Breaker. He can be annoying because, well, if he can get out of the range of our towers and we can't really damage him, he will just regenerate because he has a very high regeneration. And then he can get through our defenses really easily if we can hit him and we lose a couple of lives. And by defeating 10 Troll by Thunders on ice, we get the cool running achievement. The best way to deal with this is while having a high setup, like here, and deal with them when they're on ice. And this stage wasn't really that difficult, but I think that the most important part is, well, to build Tesla right here, and other than that, it went pretty smoothly thanks to that. Now the Iron and Heroic stages are pretty alright. I mean, there was a couple of lucky time, but other than that, it wasn't really that bad. And by clicking onto these 5 ice rooms, we get the achievement Plants vs Trolls. And now it's time for the final boss of this stage, Uruk-hai. And well, he's kinda special because when he's not stalled by our units, like barracks or reinforcement, he can be hit because of his shield. So we need to have something to stop him, to deal with him. A good way to do it will be the Stone Elemental. Pretty good way to deal with them. And well, this stage, a pretty tough stage. I lost a couple of lives, I could have gone better with this, and it could be sometimes troublesome. But like I said, good elemental and it's done. And I got the achievement Don't Feed the Troll. But because of the couple lost lives, I retried this. Now Iron stage gave me some trouble, I needed some time to find the correct setup. And well, just like I was talking, if someone wants to get all the achievements on Kingdom Rush, for example on Steam, or just the game, there's no really point in playing all of the Iron and Heroic modes on Veteran mode, or even the whole bonus stages are not needed to play on Veteran mode. So that's it. If you just want the achievement, don't. I mean, you don't need to, but I would recommend to, because well, playing on the challenging part is quite fun. And this time Heroic mode was much easier than Iron. Now we are in the Pit of Fire. Let's see if this stage will give some trouble. The new enemy is Demon Legion, and well, he has a high armor, so that makes him annoying, but more annoying is his ability, because he can duplicate, and if we let him unchecked, it can get out of the hand really fast. The next enemy, Flareon, is kinda annoying, well, like all of the new enemies, because he's fast, he's ranged, so he gets points of hatred of me, and well, he can burn our troops when they're hit. So, and he has a magic resistance. I don't know, like, I don't really like a lot of these new enemies. The next enemy is Gulaimon, and well, he's low, beefy, and his main ability is that, well, when he's topped by units of our like reinforcement or barracks or hero, he can just fly for some time and go up. And the last enemy is Cerberus. Well, he's a first and I think last mini-boss in this game, which means he cannot be instant kills. That makes it kinda annoying. And well, he has a high armor, which means mages are very important for him. And well, he has an area attack. I mean, troublesome. If we don't do anything with him, he can really easily just go and lose us a couple of lives. Now the scariest parts are Demon Legions and Cerberus, but if we deal with them fast enough, it's a nice stage. And by defeating 9 Demon Legions without them duplicating, we get the Army of One achievement. Well, the best to get this achievement is to use Rain of Fire on them. Now the Iron stage is quite difficult. Finding the correct setup is hard, and then even you need to sell some towers and go for other defenses. And of course, a little bit of luck is needed, and well, thanks to that, this stage is completed. Now Heroic was really difficult too. I don't know which one was harder. I think Heroic. But finding the correct setup and giving it a lot of tries was quite troublesome. And now onto the Pandemonium. Well, we see a big demon and, well, Vezon. I guess the evil thing didn't really work out for him that well. Now, well, I must say that this stage is pretty difficult because, well, the amount of servers that attack us is quite high. So it could be troublesome, it could. And now it's time for the Moloch, the final boss. And I must say that I had I think my setup is good, but one thing that I lack is the, well, Snow Elemental that could stop him. Because I think that this is the furthest that any boss in this game went. And I think if only I had the Stone Elemental, it would went really better than it did. But, well, after beating him, it was very close, but I got the achievement. Hell, oh. And well, after retrying, it went much better, but okay, now we are in the Iron mode, and it gave me a lot of trouble, finding the correct setup. I don't know how many tries it was, I mean more than 12 or I don't know how much, but I think the longest. The correct way to do it is, well, to have 2 rangers with Wrath of the Forest to deal with the normal minions, and the mages. A lot of mages are needed in this thing. And, well, Stone Elementals to stall the servers, because otherwise it can't be done. I think maybe there is other tactics, but it worked out pretty well for me. Now, Heroic wasn't as difficult as Iron. It was difficult, but not as. And, well, using some tactics from the previous levels, it went not as bad as previous Iron mode. And in the Fungal Forest, the first new enemy is Rotshroom. And, well, he can be quite annoying because he's a little bit beefy, but on death he releases the spores, which makes a lot of damage to our units. So he can be annoying, but not really that bad. And by killing 25 shrooms without them poisoning our soldiers, we get the achievement Spore. And now, in the final boss of the stage, is Myconid, and in the hand side he could be not that annoying with good setup, but I was kinda overwhelmed with the Noxian's Reaper, and he kinda gets away with walking just through my lane. And, well, he went pretty far, but if I had get a better job dealing with the spiders, I think it could be very easy to deal with him. And by defeating him, I get the achievement Super Mushroom. Well, just like I said, with a little bit of better setup and dealing with the spiders before, it wasn't really that bad to get this achievement. Now, the Heroic mode is really annoying, because, well, a lot of swamp things are there, so the best way to deal with them is instant kills. And for that, I chose the Musketeers, but it gave me a lot of troubles to find this solution, and, well, I guess this setup is the best to deal with this, starting with Musketeers, next to the Mage, Tesla, another Musketeers. I think thanks to that it wasn't as bad as it could. And, well, by getting our elves to deal 10,000 points of damage, we get the achievement Still Counts as 1. Now, the Iron stage was really bad, I don't know how many tries it was, but the hardest level for me. I mean, whoa man, how many tries? But, well, finding it was really annoying. I don't know how, but, well, going for mages is kinda a thing, but mostly it's about macroing our elves and doing it by that. I mean, man, it was really tough. A good rain of fires are needed for spiders and the roach rooms. Man, like this stage was the most annoying and the longest to beat. I even changed the hero. Now we are in the Rotwick, and by clicking on this manhole where is the pizza, we can get the achievement TMNT Kawabanga. And now for the enemies. The first new one is a zombie. He's slow, not really that scary, a little bit of health that could be beefy, but well, the most annoying thing is when he's grouped, so the best way is to use just artillery. Tesla, and that they shouldn't be really that big of a problem. Next enemy is the giant rat. Well, the most annoying thing about them is that when they bite, they spread the disease, which means our troops can really easily die, so that's annoying. And well, one of the main features of this stage is that, well, of this pile of corpses, zombies can spawn. On this pile of bones, skeletons can spawn. And on these piles of trash, the giant rats can spawn. So the backline is kinda exposed, so we need to focus on our backline. Now for the were rat, which is just a stronger version of big rat. Because, well, they can spread poisons and are fast, which makes them a lot of more troublesome enemy to deal with than a giant rat. And by killing 15 of were rats before they can spread any disease, we get the achievement Ratatouille. Now the iron stage is quite troublesome because, well, we need a lot of good rains of fires to deal with it. And next are mages for everything, but I mean a lot of good timed rains of fires are needed to complete this. Thankfully, the heroic stage isn't that heavily rain of fire dependent, and with good Tesla, and it's really easy to deal with this stage. In Ancient Necropolis, by clicking on this crow, we get the achievement Nevermore. The new enemy Fallen Knight are quite annoying. They have high magic resistance, a lot of damage, and they can return as undead, which makes them quite troublesome. And while the new enemy Spectral Knight is what the Fallen Knight becomes after death, and while they are quite the opposite, because, well, other than magic resistance, they don't have this, but what they have is immunity to physical damage, which makes them kinda annoying. We need mages or hero who deals magic damage or true damage. And well, they even give aura bonuses to the Fallen Knights, which makes them very annoying. And the next enemy is Abomination. Well, they're really tanky, but slow, and they can explode upon death, which makes them kinda similar to demons, but, well, they're not as scary as others enemies, but their beefiness is kinda annoying. And the rest of the campaign stage wasn't really that difficult, but on Iron stage, well, it's quite interesting, because the best setup is, well, building Tesla and barracks on lower lane, and building paladins with Holy Strike on upper lane, with the Winter Song on our hero. Why? Well, because the Holy Strike can deal true damage, so we can deal with the Fallen Knights, and Tesla can easily deal with the Necromancers, which makes it pretty easy. Like Iron stage was pretty easy, but Heroic wasn't. I even switched to Hacksaw because Abominations were pretty troublesome. And well, what I did was building 2 barracks on upper lane that will, well, deal with anything with the help of reinforcement, and on lower lane I just built a lot of mages, and Hacksaw was mainly doing the upper lane, dealing with everything that was there with his instant kill. And how I did it. In the next stage there is the lake, and where the bubbles will show up we can click on them, and Nessie will show up and we get the achievement Nessie. Now this is an annoying enemy, Blackhawk. She can fly, she can turn almost any of our units except heroes into toads, and she has a high magic resistance. Like, what is this enemy like? Whoa. Now werewolves are, well, they have high damage, are pretty fast and can regenerate health, but they're really, compared to the Black Hag, they're like nothing to compare to her. And last is Lycan, and well, he's quite annoying because when he's near death he can transform into a werewolf, he can spread the werewolf curse onto our troops and has health regeneration. He's quite annoying enemy, he can really be. Well, even though Black Hags are pretty annoying, the stage wasn't really that bad to deal with one choke point and it's really nice wave. And well, thankfully, heroic stage wasn't really that bad either, thankfully. But Iron was really annoying. What I can say that the best way to deal with this is, well, having 2 Teslas, they're a must, and then going for the arcane sorcery, no sorcery mages, sorry, to build a lot of elementals. And there's a couple of things, waves of the enemies when they attack, where Rain of Fire is very much needed. Like seriously, without using it properly, the stage is lost. And now in the castle Blackburn, we are in the final stage of the campaign, where we need to save one of the kings. Well, let's see how it goes. Now the setup for the final stage, well, a couple of Teslas, a lot of ranger hideouts, a lot of arcane wizards, couple barracks, and thankfully we can get to the end of it pretty easily. Now it's time for the final boss, Lord Blackburn, and well, he's quite interesting because he has high armor, which means that our best way to deal with him are with our arcane wizards, or wizards, magic damage. And well, his thing is that, well, he can silence our towers, which is kinda annoying. But well, 2 to 3 mages and he's easily deal with. And after defeating him, we get our final achievement, Game of Crowns. And while the Iron stage is quite interesting because we have to face Blackhawks, skeletons and flying ships. Makes it quite interesting, and it not really that bad level, I mean not hard, but it could be annoying because we need to click a lot of sheep if we want to pop it. But heroic mode was really hard. I mean, I needed to find barracks with 1 mage to 2 mages and artillery. Like, many tries was given here, pretty hard. Well, I guess all of the Iron and Heroic modes are done. So, whole game fully completed, all achievements completed, all stages on Iron mode and Heroic mode completed. Everything beaten on Veteran mode. Well, I would say that Kingdom Rush is, well, much harder than Kingdom Rush Frontiers, that for sure. A lot of levels give me so much trouble, but it was a very fun campaign, I must say. Really nice challenge, it was pretty fun and nostalgic to go back to this game, and well, I would recommend it to everyone. So, thank you for watching, and well, I would appreciate if you would like or subscribe, and I hope your day will be great. And if it's not, I hope tomorrow will be better. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.